Hey guys, Claire here. Let's continue Nier replicant.
This person must be dreaming too.
It would appear that way, yes.
Can't say I'm very excited to go back there. That dream world sorta creeps me out.
Perhaps you should spend less time complaining and more time getting on with the mission.
Yeah.
I breathe. I breathe. I breathe. I breathe. I breathe. I breathe air scented with death. With death. With death. With death and resist the rag to laugh for I know it will sound like the words of a madman. How long have I been in this fresh hell? My box, my prison is tucked beneath a stairway in the long unused catacombs of some infinite castle. Outside, I hear the sounds of a funeral drag that plays without end. Light has no place here. When is a forgotten friend. I pray for death to come, but he forsakes me. Forsakes me. Time pass in eternity slips by in a single tick of the clock. Someone knocks on my prison. Anyone there? I hear an unfamiliar voice say, my savior. I claw at the door of my jail, embedding thick splinters under my ragged nails. I scream for help. I laugh. I sob. Surely this is a produce of my athlete mind. Surely it cannot be true. Help me, I cry. For the love of all the gods, help me. Impossible. I hear the sound of a lock being torn out and falling to the floor. As the door slowly cracks open, I have just enough time to see a silver-haired boy in a floating book before the light crowds inside my eyes. Accustomed to blackness, explode with pain, and I am forced to turn away. Who are you? I ask, shaking hands covering my face. How have you come to this place? I'm Grimrar Weiss. This is Dan. Long have we been searching for you. Now come, Stan. We shall awaken from this nightmare together. The one known as Dan extend his hand and pulls me from the cell. Through my eyes are slow to adjust to freedom. My ears are keen as ever, and they recognize the staccato sounds of heavy rain. I never thought to hear that again, I whisper. Would that this were not such a terrible storm, said Grimoire Weiss. Look at your feet. I force my eyes open and see water pulling around my ankles and lapping at my shins. There's so much of it. Yes, and more comes each moment. Each moment we delay. If we do not make good our escape, we shall all drown in this castle. We know you are weak, but you are only hope to survive this place. Time, that long forgotten friend, made itself known again. I nodded my head and swore to save my rescue no matter the cost. The castle catacombs are a maze, twisting upon themselves like the endless terrace of Grant. Of a giant Grant. I find a row of 20 gorgeous canoped beds resting atop a carpet of velvet. All are covered in a thick layer of dust and cobwebs. Searching for the door to the next room, I come up a sharpless mass of gray matter. It has been shoved against the side of the wall and dissipate my fever. I think I see the outlines of a door just beyond. When I reach out a finger and touch a piece of the mass, it turns to dust and drift away on the wind. I realizing slowly dawns, and I fall to my knees and weep. Corpse, I face a mountain of carried and crumbling corpse. I look from it to the beds and back again until the horror dawns full up in me. Someone has pulled these bodies into into a tower and set them ablaze. Whether they were alive or dead, I do not know, and sanity will not permit me to consider the proposition further. I make a sound, whether scream, or rather I cannot be sentient than my mind grants me. Merciful blackness, and I find myself opening the door and leaving that most terrible of rooms. At the end of the path, I find myself in a great hall with only the sounds of rain. Great hall with only the sounds of rain for confront the waterlogged red corrupted squash beneath my feet. As I approached the center of the room. Once there, I behold a beautiful dining table. Beautiful dining table upon which rest china and silver of the finest construction, as well as the remains of a fantastic feast. As my eyes continue to adjust, I see many chairs surrounding the table, each holding a dinner guest. Notice moment I approached that the chair at the table headed, but as the truth of the matter dawns on me, I recall in horror. The host of the feast is a corpse, as are all the invited guests. An army of foul, wiggling insects have made homes in their remains, and this is the moment I saw. This one splendid beast was now nothing more than a requiem for the damned. I take a moment to steady my shaking hands, then slowly back away from the table. Desperate to lose sight of the abomination before me. My gaze lands on the chairs upon which the dead were seated. This is a mistake. This is a mistake. This is a mistake. For the chair proved to be even more terrible than the feast itself. Each one is covered in a layer of spikes that run from the seat, up the back, and down the arms. This explains the this explains the color of the carpet beneath my feet. I can only pray that the unfortunate diners were dead when the meal began. For if not, it is a simple task to envision the organized scream that most have spring forth from their mouth. My mind grabs fantastically at the possibility that these souls had committed some terrible crime for which this was punishment. Though in truth, I suspected they had committed no crime at all. There would be no more tomorrow, for this unfortunate. This was their last supper. Against all hope, we make it to the front door. Break it down. Someone cries, and so I give myself to the effort. In tandem with Dan and Grimoire Wise, I slam my body against the thick, sturdy door. On the third try, it gives away. And we find ourselves sprawled on the ground outside the castle. The storm is in retreat. The clouds above are still dark and forbidding, but to the west I can see a thin shimmer of sunlight trying to break through. How can I thank you? I cry as tears join the rain on my cheeks. I would surely have died in there. Looking down, suddenly notice that my dress is in tatters, and sheepishly try to cover my exposed skin. Your dress, asked Wise. Then you are a woman, madam. I am. I prefer the to a smile. I suppose that comes as something of a surprise, seeing as how I exist only in the form of words. I can see that the one known as Dan is disappointed that the torn dress will be given no further description, but he hides it well with a nod and a shrug. The three of us set forth to our awakening. but behind us an awakening of another kind is taking place. Black smoke fills the abandoned castle, proving the countless damned souls inside with their final shroud. After a moment, the castle windows shatter with a mighty roar. A fresh breeze blows through the hallway, and corridors cleaning the smoke away. The smoke away for good. As we watch an owl in an uncountable black shadows slowly flicker to life, crossing to and far in front of the broken windows. The castle dead have awakened their new life as shades.
You have anything to say about that?
Hopefully there will be no labyrinth next time.
I hear that.
And another victim. This work certainly is trying.
I figured a book like you would be into all this word stuff, Vice.
Even I have my exceptions. Now let's be off.
A culinary of massive scripters was visible in the distance. They're tall from scripting against the sky. Weiss and Dan had never seen such a sight, and their eyes widened as they tried to take it in.
Those buildings must be huge if we can see them from this far away. What do you think, Vice?
As Weiss considered his answer, the sun beat down on them with renewed ferocity.
Perhaps they are some manner of mirage,
he said. Under this heat, a mirage or two would hardly be an unaccepting sight. Dan nodded and wiped the seat off his brow, leaving a trail of a sand in its place. I thought he'd never been so thirsty. The ancient road on which they walked was black and cracked with age. Here and there, then white wisps of grass pushed up there, the rocky surface, as if defying those who had led this material down over their home. The heat reflecting from the road made Dan lightheaded. His feet hurting, he crouched it down to rest. I didn't know how much longer I can do this. Is someone playing a joke on us, or what? The complaining had already begun. Weiss tried not to let his eyes roll too much. Too much. A joke, he said. No, joke. This road leads to the city of art. Perhaps the path itself is simple, some manner of grand artistic work. You don't sound very sure of yourself there. Perhaps not. But thinking of it in this way might make it easier for you to bear. Dan glanced at Weiss, grinning face, shook his head, and resumed walking. As time passed, Dan's feet grew more painful, and his throat drier than in his throat drier than he thought possible. He thought possible. He tried not to look farther than the next step ahead, because the bright sunlight made him hesitant to trust his own sense. We are definitely getting closer, said Weiss in an effort to cheer his companion. Yes, this much is centered and charged. Dan left his gaze. Suddenly, he stopped walking, choosing instead to stand in the middle of the road with his mouth and eyes wide open and his finger pointing in the distance. Water, he cried. It's water. Water, asked Weiss. Purpose this. I don't see any water. Over there. Just headed off us. Look at the sun is reflecting off it. Without waiting for a response, Dan sprang to life and bounded toward the sight. There was no water. There was no water. There was no water. There was no water. There was nothing but sand and over direction. Dan closed his eyes and sighed as Weiss floating up behind him and chuckled softly. I believe this is known as a mirage, he said. Many a desert traveler has spoken of such things. Dan shook his head bewildered. Suddenly, he pointed off. He pointed off. He pointed off in the distance, his eyes wide once more. Wait, there it is. I just missed it. Look. Look, it's right there. Dan sprinted off again, leaving Wise with no choice, but he followed. After a few minutes of running, Dan came to a halt. I couldn't sworn it was right around here. Confused, he put his hands up to his eyes and rubbed them vigorously. As soon as he stopped, he noticed a blue shimmering pool of clear water just over the next rise. With a shout, he bounded off in search of it. The chase continued for nearly an hour until an expressed Wise finally floating up and Dan and struck him down in face with his cover. Enough your blathering, idiot. Stop this at once. There is no water here. Dan's face clouded. There isn't? There is a lot, and perhaps next time you will listen. There is not, and perhaps next time you will listen to me when I tell you as much. Wise paused for a moment, then continued speaking in a slightly kinder tone. However, I suppose this mad chase was not altogether wasted. It seems we have arrived in the city of art. Dan looked up, stretched out before him was a row of impossibly tall scripture. Their journey was at the end. They're huge, cried Dan, completely forgetting the heat and pain of the past few hours. Have never seen anything so big. Each sculpture was framed from the roughly the same shape, a tall rectangle that stretched up toward the sky. But that is where the cemeteries ended. Most were covered with pane of glass that reflecting light in a thousand directions, while others seemed to be nothing but frames of steel. Some had tall sprays on their tops, while others possessed triangular caps. What kind of city is this? Said Dan. Where are the people? Where are the houses? Perhaps the land is intended exclusively for artistic use. The debate continued as they made their way through the city. Marvelous of artistry were everywhere. Great iron crates with wheels sat silent on steel rows. Beautiful covered works with lights of red amber, and green, dangled over every street. As they moved away from the massive scriptures, they found a great array of similar ones. Some were covered in glass or brick, but many were composed of materials they had never before encountered. The sheer variety of colors and styles was staggering. Unable to find a theme or proposed to the abstract works around them, Dan and Wise eventually fell silent. On the outskirts of the city, they discovered 3 scriptures in the shape of humans. Dan uttered a sigh of relief as I approached them. Finally, I was getting tired of modern art. The 3 statues were indescribable except for a single word chiseled into their right arms. One read Alpha, one read Beta, and one final one grade Gamma. As Dan moved to touch the nearest statue, a bird flew from the top of one of the scriptures, alighting on the statue shoulder. It emitted a brief, beautiful song that took the form of words. Only one form is real, the others are false. The real form will always speak the truth. The false one will only speak lies. With that, a bird depart as if on cure. The 3 statues shredded to life, acquiring color and from as they began to breathe. Hey, look at that, said Dan. They're alive. The tablet bowed low before Dan. Please, said Alpha, you have to get me out of this nightmare. I'm real. Stop lying, said Beta. He turned to Dan and threw his hands in the air. Alpha's a fake, you know. I'm the real one. What a load of crap, said Gamma. Beta is a fake, everyone. Knows him, the only real one around here. Their respective deals giving the 3 statues returned to their frozen static as silence once again unavailable the city. When you consider all of the statums, only one of them could be the real thing, said Wise. Then furrowed his eyebrows and constructed his answer. Only the one from is real. The others are false. The real form will always speak the truth. The false ones will only speak lies. The real one is Beta. Though Dan's voice betrayed a notable lack of confidence, he was relieved to see Wise nodding at him. If Alpha were telling the truth, begin, wise and in the dry tones of a lecture, Beta and Gamma would be fakes, but in that case, Gamma's claim that Beta is fake would be the truth, even though Gamma is a liar. Therefore, the theory crumbles. Now let us presume that Gamma spoke the truth. That makes Alpha and Beta liars. In this situation, however, Beta is calling Alpha a liar, which would leave us with two situations telling the truth. Finally, let us assume that Beta is telling the truth. If so, Alpha and Gamma lies would make sense. Therefore, Beta must be real. As Wise finished his explain, Alpha and Gamma crumble sunless into dust while Beta spring to life once more. Congratulations, villager, said Wise in a cheerful voice. The time to awaken has arrived. Thank you for saving me, cried the villager. He dropped to his knees and bowed his head as low as it could go before an uncomfortable Dan pulled him to his feet. Why do you have a dream like this? Asked Wise. Have you been to this city before? The village slowly looked around at the bizarre option and scriptures that dotted the landscape, then shook his head. I don't think so. I mean, it's a possible, right? There's no way I could have ever been to a place like this, but at the same time, I feel like I have seen it before. Deja vu, muttered Dan, just like the mayor. The vague sense of unease that struck Dan during the mayor's dream sprayed once more though his mind.
That was rough.
I am positive I have seen that place before.
Okay, that's enough. Don't need you getting all weird on me too. Okay, there. Now all the villagers can wake up, right?
Yes, if the mayor's assumption was correct. I think I have had enough wordplay to last a lifetime. Thank you very much.
You're telling me. Anyway, let's go see the mayor.
Oh, how wonderful. Thank you so much. Here, I have something for you.
Option: the one-handed sword. Faith.
Wow, this looks valuable. I can really have it?
Of course. It's apparently a weapon of some renown, but we have little use for it.
Well, we appreciate it.
Thank you again for everything.
So how was the village?
Oh, it was truly magnificent. There are no words.
Oh, sorry.
Neat.
Let's get back to Popola. She'll probably want to know what's going on in there.
Oh, Marshall. Ah, no, get up. Okay, we're in here for now. We'll continue Nier replicant in next video. Hit the like button, subscribe my channel, leave a comment. I hope I'll see you in next video. Bye!